This is Fred Ricciani of TSC News here to recap WWE SmackDown Live for August 2nd, 2016. I'm also here to give you guys my thoughts on WWE Monday Night Raw, which took place last night on August 1st, 2016. Maybe we'll get Scott Anderson in on here and we'll chat a little bit about what's going on, all things WWE on the road to SummerSlam. I'll also take some of your questions live on the air via Twitter, via YouTube, via Facebook, Instagram, you name it, hit me up. If you've been here before, please feel free to click the like button and share us with all your friends. And if you're new, welcome to the show. Now, SmackDown Live. I had high hopes last week. As many of you know, I was not hot on the show. A lot of fans weren't hot on the show. It just felt like a 2-hour Raw, only with a thinner roster. So here's week 2. I'm thinking, all right, they got to do a little something to get me excited for SummerSlam. You see, the number one contender for the WWE Championship on the SmackDown brand is Dolph Ziggler, who won a match that also featured AJ Styles and John Cena. And prior to winning this match, for weeks upon months, he was getting his ass kicked by Baron Corbin and his deformed belly button. You know, that deformed belly button that looks like it could be a Sesame Street character, one of those puppets. Yeah, that Baron Corbin. Yet somehow, someway, he became the number one contender for Dean Ambrose's WWE Championship. And a lot of people were saying, well, Fred, it's okay. It's okay. The SmackDown-only Backlash pay-per-views in September. They'll want a big match for the SmackDown-only pay-per-view. So they'll just put this one on here because SmackDown doesn't really need a big match in terms of the title picture. It's SummerSlam. You got Brock Lesnar. You got the debut of Finn Bálor. You got John Cena versus AJ Styles, which is confirmed tonight. But you only have one chance to make a first impression. The draft show was not very good, but it was noteworthy because as well, the draft. Then we had last week, and it was noteworthy because this was the first official post-draft SmackDown, and it was subpar besides the main event, and it ended with the WTF. Dolph Ziggler? Dolph Ziggler? Dolph Ziggler? So, here we are. SmackDown Live, we kick things off with Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Shane McMahon, watching the footage of Randy Orton invading Monday Night Raw last night, attacking Brock Lesnar, hitting the RKO, urging him to be careful because Brock Lesnar is on the lookout. And they hinted that Brock Lesnar might appear. Now, he did appear, spoiler alert. But don't you think they'd want to let people know ahead of time, as in before the start of the show, as in maybe give it like a week? Let it simmer. That angle on Raw was awesome. It was Paul Heyman cutting this long-winded promo, talking about how Brock Lesnar's the man, the greatest combat sports athlete ever, you know, the usual Paul Heyman spiel. And he said, Randy Orton, you're not man enough to hit the RKO. And Randy Orton came out from underneath the ring, hit the RKO. It was freaking great. You can't let us enjoy that moment for about a week. You can't hint that maybe, just maybe, Brock Lesnar will be coming, but just not tonight. I mean, it did add to the show, but why not have a letter from Paul Heyman? Or Paul Heyman himself confront Shane McMahon and Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan and say, Randy, you made the biggest mistake of your life. Now, for legal reasons, I kept Brock Lesnar away from you tonight, but he's going to strike when you least expect it. And you know what? Maybe they could have Brock Lesnar appear tonight anyway, destroy a bunch of geeks after Randy Orton leaves, and then he could tease a return next week. Or you could just tease Brock Lesnar coming in next week. I just think for a guy that you're paying so much money who has limited dates, you should advertise him ahead of time. Not an hour ahead of time, but that's okay. So, to watch the footage, They gave Randy Orton a slap on the wrist and said, hey, do you know the consequences? But that's pretty cool. Then they were confronted by The Miz. And The Miz says, how dare you treat me with disrespect, blah, blah, blah. You should be rolling out the red carpet. I'm your Jason Bourne. I'm your Matt Damon. And Daniel Bryan says, I don't really want to draft you. I just wanted to draft the IC title. So they booked a triple threat match to decide Miz's SummerSlam opponent, which comprised of Apollo Creed, as Daniel Bryan called him. He really meant Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin and his deformed belly button, and Kalisto. And they had the match, pretty good match. Kalisto looked like he had it won, but Apollo Crews rolled him up with a schoolboy for the win. I'm not sure why you have this guy with this Herculean physique who looks great, who can do all these cool moves, and you just have him win by the skin of his teeth. I know he's a young upstart. I know his current gimmick is, I'm happy to be here. I'm smiling. I'm Apollo Crews. But you need to give him some credibility. There's no reason he couldn't have beaten Sheamus decisively last month, and there's no reason why he couldn't have just pinned Kalisto. A schoolboy? Really? At least make it like some cool pinning combination, a La Magistral cradle, something. No, a schoolboy. Whatever. So, Apollo Crews won. Miz attacked him from behind, hit a really ugly-looking skull-crushing finale. Miz was on commentary with the lovely Maurice. And then Baron Corbin came from behind, hit the End of Days, which I gotta say is a pretty damn cool-looking finisher. And that was that. We opened the actual show with a promo after that segment backstage with Dean Ambrose coming out, got a great ovation, called out Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler came out rocking the Lana-style ponytail, although not as nice and not as bleached and blonde. And Dean Ambrose was trying to play the heel role, ran him down, and pretty much said that, well, Dolph, congratulations, but for years you've been worrying about your spot, worried about management, worried about what people think about you, worried about your hair, worried about shaking your ass, worried about dancing, worried about stealing the show, but never worrying about what actually goes on in this ring and when it comes to winning the title. Now, the way I articulated this was significantly better than the way Dean Ambrose did. And look, I'm not saying I'm a better promo than Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is an excellent promo. What I'm saying is Dean Ambrose was scripted, instructed to talk like a dude that just did an 8-ball of coke backstage. A dude that just took some speed or something. Just he looks like he just hung out with John Jones at some nightclub and then came out and they told him, hey, cut a WWE promo. Okay. Here's what he said. Yo, you're too busy worried about that. I'm the WWE champion. I beat Roman Reigns. I beat Seth Rollins. You're not gonna beat me. And at SummerSlam, we're gonna fight, and I'm gonna beat you, and I'm gonna prove that I'm better than you, and you're gonna lose. And he was just going 110 miles an hour. I could not keep up. My head was hurting. I mean, I'm also congested too, but my head was hurting even more than it already was. I'm just like, Dean, slow down. Slow down. And he's done this in a lot of promos recently. I'm assuming somebody's telling him backstage, hey, man, just act frantic. Just act fast. You know, maybe somebody's a Ricky Bobby fan and they saw, Talladega Nights and he was like, I want to go fast. And somebody backstage was like, Dean, I want you to go fast. And Dean's like, okay. Dolph, he showed some good fire. Dean Ambrose said he started from the bottom and he became WWE champion. And Dolph retorted and said, hey, I was a male cheerleader. Assuming that everybody remembers the Spirit Squad, which, newsflash, not a lot of people do. Some people may not have even been alive during the Spirit Squad era, which was a very short-lived era. But still, there's kids in the audience. Maybe show a video package. This is the problem with WWE, and this was the problem with the Finn Bálor segment on Monday as well. They tell you, they don't show you. They tell you Finn Bálor won this spectacular run in NXT. They don't show you highlights of that spectacular run. They tell you Seth Rollins was the first NXT champion. They don't show you highlights of Seth Rollins' career leading up to this SummerSlam match with Finn Bálor, and perhaps they will in coming weeks, showing him beating Jinder Mahal, of all people, to win the first ever NXT championship. Crazy to think about. He beat Jinder Mahal. Can you imagine if Jinder Mahal was the first ever NXT champion? Man, that would have been brutal. But yes, so Dolph and a mosquito just flew into my camera. So that's creepy. Maybe I'll kill it soon. Anyway. So Dolph Ziggler talked about how he was a male cheerleader, how for 7 years he's been overlooked, he's been disrespected, how he's scratched and clawed. Never mind the fact that if this were real and you were treating this like a real sport, you would just look at Dolph Ziggler's win-loss record over the years and say, dude, you're a geek. You suck. And I don't think Dolph Ziggler sucks. He's a former champion. He's a great competitor. But in storyline, if this were real, all you have to do is look at all the times that Dolph Ziggler has lost every single big match he's been in. He's lost to Cena. He's lost to Orton. He lost to even Jack Swagger, Alberto Del Rio. I mean, you just have to just look at his win-loss record this year. Oh, man. You know what? Speaking of that, I'm going to do that right now. Dolph Ziggler Cage Match D. There's a website called Cage Match DE or cagematch.net that has like win-loss records and matches and everything else. Let's see what his win-loss record is for 2016. Do they have it here? No, they don't. Okay. Well, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I pulled up a bunch of Dolph Ziggler's matches in 2016. So, I am going to go through it real quick and just tell you guys the quick results, okay? Let's see here. Dolph Ziggler beats Tyler Breeze. Okay, cool. Beat Tyler Breeze. Everybody beats Tyler Breeze. All right. Let's kick it off with January 4th, 2016. Heath Slater beats Dolph Ziggler. Let's forward to 4 straight nights of him beating Tyler Breeze. Okay, it doesn't really count. Beats The Miz, beats Tyler Breeze. All right. January 25th, Kevin Owens beats Dolph Ziggler. Beats Tyler Breeze, beats Tyler Breeze. Well, he actually had a win over Kevin Owens? Okay. Kevin Owens wins a Fatal 4-Way with Dolph Ziggler in it. League of Nations beats Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler beats Tyler Breeze, so at least he beats somebody. Kevin Owens beats Dolph Ziggler. League of Nations beats Dolph Ziggler. The Miz beats Dolph Ziggler. Let's see. Triple H beats Dolph Ziggler. Kalisto beats Dolph Ziggler. Rusev beats Dolph Ziggler. Shall I keep going here? Kevin Owens beats Dolph Ziggler. The Miz beats Dolph Ziggler. The Miz beats Dolph Ziggler again and again and again. Then he got a fluke win over Baron Corbin. Then Baron Corbin beat him. Then Baron Corbin beat him again. Baron Corbin. Okay, let's look at the last 2 months, okay? Baron Corbin beats Dolph Ziggler. Baron Corbin beats Dolph Ziggler. Baron Corbin beats Dolph Ziggler. Okay, he got a win over Curtis Axel. Baron Corbin beats Dolph Ziggler. Seth Rollins beats Dolph Ziggler. Baron Corbin beats Dolph Ziggler. Baron Corbin beats Dolph Ziggler. Rusev and Sheamus beat Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder. Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, and the Shining Stars beat Dolph Ziggler, the Usos, and Titus O'Neil. July 23rd, 2016, Baron Corbin beats Dolph Ziggler. And now, of course, we have the number one contendership match that we had last week where Dolph Ziggler pinned AJ Styles. So they didn't have his exact win-loss record here. But, yeah, they have pretty much have all the matches he's wrestled in WWE this year, and he lost. Anyway, so he talked about scratching and clawing and how wrestling's fake and how he's had a glass ceiling. He didn't mention the phrase glass ceiling. They didn't mention the phrase glass ceiling this week. Thank God. Thank God. That's such a stupid term. At least, you know what? It's not a stupid term. It's just a stupid term in the context of Dolph Ziggler. You know, if it was referring to Daniel Bryan, who had the authority, put obstacles in his way, that's one thing. But, again, in storyline, Dolph Ziggler has lost a lot. So he said he's going to go to SummerSlam, and he's going to prove everybody wrong. He's going to prove Dean Ambrose wrong and win the WWE Championship. And he had great fire. He had great intensity. You know, he really tried hard. Both guys did, even though Dean Ambrose seemed like Jesse Pinkman. If Jesse Pinkman, after Breaking Bad, became a pro wrestler and then fell off the wagon. But still, they tried hard. And the crowd that was so hot for Dean Ambrose when he came out, Just went kind of mild. Wow, okay. So Steven Shaw brings up Dolph Ziggler's complete record here. Overall, he is 572 and 634 with 23 draws in his career. Holy doodle squat, yeah. Some career record that is. So Dean Ambrose said, "You're not going to beat me." And he walked out of the ring, kind of heelish. What happens? We get the whole weird Bray Wyatt special effects. Bray Wyatt appears in the ring, gives Dolph a sister Abigail. Dolph still has these acid wash jeans that he got from, I wouldn't even say Hot Topic. They're a little bit nicer than Hot Topic. Maybe the clearance rack of Express, which ain't nothing wrong with that. I shop at Express as well. The man has immaculate taste. And he pretty much sat over Dolph and said, "Dolph, you won't be a man, huh? How about I face you tonight? And if I defeat you, I replace you in the WWE Championship match at SummerSlam." All right, that's a horrible Bray Wyatt impression. But anyway, the point of this is Bray Wyatt challenged Dolph Ziggler in the main event of SmackDown, and if he wins, he gets Dolph Ziggler's spot. For once, Bray has some motivation that doesn't involve exposing somebody or calling Roman Reigns a fraud or anyone but you. He actually has a clear motive. The WWE Championship. Yes. Now, here's the thing that may have backfired for WWE, assuming that they're going to keep Bray a heel stubbornly. The crowd cheered Bray and booed Dolph. So Dolph is now the poor man's Roman Reigns, at least temporarily. And it looks like right here we got Scott Anderson, my partner in crime, calling in.
He actually has a clear motive.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How are you doing?
Hey, man, turn off that video in the background. It's creepy hearing my voice twice.
It was some weird guy talking. Yeah, well, you didn't give me enough time. That's the problem.
All right, there we go. Hang on. Let me adjust your volume here. You were coming in a little loud. There you go.
Sorry.
So what's up, buddy?
It was a tough night. Sorry I'm late. Leaving work and noticed I had a flat tire, so had to get that filled and drive home and noticed it was getting flat as I got in. So all in all, a fun night.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, I worked 20 hours yesterday, so we're both kind of beat.
All right, you
now.
win.
Hey, I think your labor is a little bit more physically intensive than mine, but regardless,
Sitting outside sucks.
Yes.
For sure.
Regardless, Scott and I are running on fumes. Raw was pretty entertaining, and we were hoping SmackDown would kind of wake us up a little bit, not running on too much sleep, and instead, not so much. Now, I don't know if you heard, I just recapped the opening promo.
I did.
The opening segment. Yeah.
And I wanted to mention that I think Triple H beat Dolph Ziggler sometime this year as well, right?
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, did you mention that? I don't know. Yeah.
Speaking of Triple H, yeah. Dolph Ziggler said, "I'm going to prove that I'm that damn..." I botched this, okay.
He did the promo.
Yeah, he said, "I'm going to prove that I'm that damn good." And I was thinking, wait, that's Triple H's catchphrase. Now, I don't know if any kids will remember this or younger people because I don't think Triple H has used that in 10 years. Has he used that recently?
I'm sure he did on a Raw when he was champion that none of us gave a crap about.
Maybe, I don't know, but that's his old catchphrase. That's his old heel catchphrase. But yeah, he used it, and then Dean Ambrose said, "Oh, I'm gonna beat you and prove that I'm that damn good." Ugh, man. Also, a reoccurring theme which seems to have rubbed off on me tonight. Everybody on SmackDown was stumbling on their words, and look, it happens. You have an off night, but everybody was having an off night. You had Morrow a little bit. Well, actually, Morrow was a lot better this week. I think he was more comfortable. He kind of kept JBL and Otunga at bay, although Otunga just didn't offer anything of note except for DJ Khaled references, and he went overboard with that. But you had Daniel Bryan call Apollo Creed. He was stumbling a little bit. AJ Styles stumbled a little bit. David Otunga stumbled a little bit. I just stumbled a little bit because it rubbed off me. See?
You did it again?
Happened again. It's AJ Styles when he said, what did you say? Slam? Something
like that, yeah.
Yeah. So I blame AJ Styles for that tonight. But, yeah, this was awkward. Nobody cares about Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose. It just, they tried.
Well, I don't think nobody cares. I think the people who watch, I think the diehards kind of care because I think they know it could be a one hell of a match. But as far as TV wise goes, no, I don't think that's got a whole lot of steam to it.
Yeah,
That could be the opening match. That's the sad part.
Yeah. Oh god, if it's the opening match,
and it could be
perception wise,
and it could be in the first hour for sure. And that match could be on the kickoff show. Let's be honest.
No,
and
don't. It won't
be. But
come on.
That match could come on at 7:30. You realize that?
Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler.
Sadly enough,
right,
you know it's amazing though how they devalued the WWE title. It really is.
Well,
I mean, I know it's been devalued, but how all of a sudden this new title seems to be bigger and better. It baffles me.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's skip to the main event then. Let's skip to the main event because you brought up the devaluation of the WWE title. So we had Bray Wyatt versus Dolph Ziggler. Good match, really good match in the main event, but it's Bray Wyatt versus Dolph Ziggler in the main event of SmackDown on a brand that features AJ Styles and John Cena.
Yeah, but those are like two of your top 5 guys right there, Bray Wyatt and Dolph.
I know. So they're wrestling, and Bray tries to use the exposed turnbuckle. He was, untying the turnbuckle pad, and he was going to throw Dolph in there. He got hit with a zigzag, kicked out of the zigzag, and later Dolph went for the same move because, Dolph's a babyface, but he's trying to win by any means necessary, as Dean Ambrose said on commentary. And I don't even remember what happened. Did Bray hit the turnbuckle?
I'll be honest, I don't.
I think he hit the turnbuckle. Regardless, he ate a super kick, and he lost. I think he hit the turnbuckle. I don't know. I was just baffled at Dolph Ziggler and Bray Wyatt in the main event of SmackDown Live, but whatever. The turnbuckle came into play. He ate a super kick. Why Dolph Ziggler's super kick puts away guys, but Luke Gallows' doesn't. The Usos' super kicks don't. Kevin Owens' super kick doesn't. Sami Zayn's super kick doesn't, although he does have the haluva kick. Just Dolph Ziggler, I guess, right? But yeah, so man.
Well, he used it to beat AJ, so
Yeah, so he pinned Bray Wyatt, and afterwards he stared down Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose got on top of the announcer's table. They were jaw-jacking back and forth. And who should run out but Eric Rowan?
Does make sense, though.
Yes, it does. But here's the problem. It's not Eric Rowan blindsiding Ziggler and then Bray joining in. It's Eric Rowan single-handedly taking out the number 1 contender for the WWE Championship.
At least they're doing something with the guy.
Okay.
I'm just gonna try to.
Okay. Now, Scott, you mentioned the devaluation of the WWE Championship.
I did.
And people are wondering, why are you freaking out so much about Dolph Ziggler? I thought you liked Dolph Ziggler. I do like Dolph Ziggler, but his peak was 3 years ago. So just let me lay out this scenario for you before we wrap up this main event segment, okay? Dean Ambrose won Money in the Bank, cashed in the same night on Seth Rollins, and won the WWE Championship, right?
Yep.
Then he goes on a Battleground, or actually before that, he pinned Seth Rollins on SmackDown. Clean. Yep. Then he goes to Battleground and pins Roman Reigns clean.
And he also pinned Seth clean for the title on Raw before that.
Wait, did he pin it? No,
Yeah.
Well, technically both shoulders were down, yeah, and he did retain the title.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, whatever. Regardless, he had back-to-back pinfall victories over Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and a couple months before that, he had beaten Chris Jericho. So he went from win over Chris Jericho to a win over Seth to another win over Seth to a win over Roman Reigns to Dolph Ziggler. And on top of that, tonight, he decides, you know what? I'm going to help Dolph. I'm going to take off my leather jacket. I'm going to get off this announcer's table that I was standing on. I'm going to run in the ring, and I'm going to whip some ass because I'm the WWE champion. So he runs in. And unless my eyes deceive me, and please, for the viewers watching right now, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I blinked too fast. Maybe I was blowing my nose. Maybe I was just distracted because my cat was freaking out over some bug she was looking at and doing some weird dance. Seriously, my cat Paprika was just jumping up and down trying to catch this bug. It was hilarious and more entertaining than this angle. So, Dean Ambrose runs into the ring, presumably to whoop the ass of Eric Rowan and Bray Wyatt. And Eric Rowan picks him up and slams him and rolls him out of the ring. Now notice, I said Eric Rowan. Bray Wyatt was sitting down, was licking his wounds. The WWE champion who just pinned Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins got laid out single-handedly by Eric Rowan en route to a title match with Dolph Ziggler. Am I the only one that sees something wrong with this?
It would have been better, even though he's not ready, to have Luke Harper and Eric Rowan do it together.
Oh my God.
Well, at least you have the Wyatt family back together.
Yeah, they need Luke Harper.
Yeah.
They need to bring Luke Harper back. I'm talking about days in SmackDown, and they they just need to unleash that guy. This dude just needs to like lariat people.
Yeah, but they tried that and it didn't work.
No, it did work. They just freaking jobbed him. They gave him the remember a couple years ago.
But
they gave him the Intercontinental title. He lost it like a month later, and then they just kind of put him in a bunch of stupid angles until he reformed with the Wyatt family.
Yeah, didn't he keep losing it to Dolph Ziggler out of all people?
Yes.
So, you know.
Man, all right. It was bad. And by the way, Dan Foster points out that, yeah, the turnbuckle did come into play in the match. It was such a memorable match, I forgot about it. So, anyway, let's recap the rest of the show. We, as I mentioned before, Apollo Crews won the #1 contendership. We had Becky Lynch and Ava Marie end in a no contest when Ava Marie did her grand entrance, posed on the middle rope, jumped off the middle rope, strained her calf muscle, I guess, or her quad.
Oh, God.
Becky Lynch was ready to fight, and Ava Marie forced not one but two officials to help her to the back, and this match was called off. Why this was not a forfeit victory for Becky Lynch, I'm not sure.
The bell never rang? Maybe
I don't think the bell ever rang. Did it ever ring? I don't think it ever rang.
I don't know. Well, that's what I mean. It's... Yeah.
I thought it was great heel heat, but here's the problem. It was great heel heat, but it was on a show that had very little wrestling and way too much talking.
Well, you know, I mean, Eva Marie has a couple assets at least.
She's a good heel. I think she's a good heel. She's not a great wrestler at all. She's not even a good wrestler, but she's a decent heel. I thought it was a pretty good heat, but I would have liked her to be a little more, I don't know, a little more obvious. Like, not too obvious, but maybe crack like a little smile and everything. But I thought she was pretty good for the most part here. I just kind of feel bad for Becky Lynch. Here she goes from being a title contender to feuding with Natalya and getting her ass kicked by Natalya to feuding with Ava Marie. And, man.
The nail in the coffin for that women's division on SmackDown will be after SummerSlam and Bayley's on Raw. Because that's what they're going to do. You know that.
Oh, God. If Bayley is on Raw, Bayley is the one girl that they could put on there besides Natalya, but I think Bayley even more so because she's worked with a lot of these girls that can get a good match out of any of these women. I really think she. I mean, she's proved it already. She gave Ava Marie the best match she's ever going to have.
Not saying a whole lot, but yeah, no. But that's the issue. Yeah. They won't. Everything goes to Raw.
They need Bayley though. If they have so many girls there that are green, they need Bayley.
Of course.
They do, but I don't think they're going to bring her up. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Louis made some troll comment that I'm going to ignore. We had American Alpha debut. And they defeated the Vaudevillains. This was pretty good.
Mm.
Right here. Nice debut for American Alpha. Crowd reacted to them pretty well. They had these singlets that looked like they were straight out of the 90s. Old school Steiner Brothers. I dug it. We had Heath Slater confront Daniel Bryan and say that he should be signed. Daniel Bryan said, you could have a match next week, and if you win, you get a contract. And he goes, who's my opponent? And then Rhino gores him, and presumably it is Rhino versus Heath Slater next week. We had Carmella on the set of the new show Talking Smack with Renee Young, which is the post-game show on WWE Network for SmackDown. And Carmella was talking about how she's going to run through this women's division, going to be fab. She's the princess, the queen, whatever the hell, of Staten Island. And then Natalya confronted her, bragged about how she talked to her Uncle Brett. Why does she talk to her uncle all the time? What about her dad?
Yeah, don't you feel bad for the Anvil? Happy birthday, by the way, to the Anvil, but don't you feel bad for him?
Yeah, Jim Neidhart's a former tag team champion. He was Bret Hart's right-hand man for the longest time. And
I mean, that would be like Charlotte coming out with Ole Anderson or Tully Blanchard.
Yeah.
I mean, it really would.
Yeah.
I'll get my Uncle Tully in here, or Uncle Arn,
Yeah, I get Double A. Forget Rick.
Yeah. Which, at this point might be better anyway.
Yeah, so they set up a match for later tonight. Carmella came out to virtually no reaction. She did her usual spiel. I have no idea why she's not linked with Enzo and Cass right now.
Well, the funny thing, and the answer is because Vince McMahon sees money in Cass. That's why. And he doesn't, and it obviously says that he doesn't see money in Rusev. He doesn't see money in The Miz because they have their women with him. But Cass doesn't. And Del Rio and Paige are separate, And that pretty much says all you need to know.
So a guy that's money can't have a hot girlfriend along his side?
Isn't the I think we talked about this last week, but isn't the whole thing where Vince doesn't, or I read it, I'm sorry, maybe that Vince doesn't want basically the side piece to interfere with the main guy.
That's his real life girlfriend. It's not a side piece.
If you put it as the trio, she would be the side. That's all I meant.
Yeah. But, okay. But side piece. Okay. But side piece is different.
Like she's the
side
mistress
piece has
of
different
the wife.
meanings.
Okay, whatever.
Side piece. Brother, you gotta watch some Ballers at HBO. Okay, side piece has a different meaning.
I know. Yes, Ricky has his side pieces. I gotcha. But yeah, that's why I don't go to the house anymore. She'd be
the third fiddle, in the Enzo and Cass.
The whole thing is that if they broke up, then she's in the way and all that. That's what I've read, and that's why they're not together. It's stupid. It's dumb.
She's a great part of the act.
I agree.
Nobody knows who she is on SmackDown.
Her by herself doing the Princess of Staten Island thing is not going. It won't get over. It just won't. Yeah. People are going to boo her.
Plus, people naturally don't like Staten Island, and rightfully so. But speaking as somebody from New Jersey, but yeah, she came out talking about being the Princess of Staten Island, and then Natalya, who was unofficially representing New Jersey, attacked her, put her in the sharpshooter. She screamed and tapped, and that was that. We've had a lot of great women's wrestling tonight. Ava Marie and Becky Lynch, and then Carmella and Natalya. Some 5-star women's wrestling tonight. Let me tell you.
Alexa Bliss. What the hell?
Was she even on? She wasn't even on tonight.
She was on. No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, some great women's wrestling tonight. And we had Randy Orton take on either Tyler Breeze or Fandango. Honestly, I don't remember.
It was Fandango.
Okay, was it? Okay, because I actually went to get some ice cream because I figured Randy Orton.
I'm sorry, it was Fandango.
I figured Randy Orton would just win with an RKO, so I figured it'd be a good time to go get some ice cream. So went to get some ice cream, and all of a sudden I hear Brock Lesnar. So I ran back down, and what do you know? Brock Lesnar came out, gave an F5 to Randy Orton, got escorted by security, and he left. And I got to say, and I noticed this on Monday, but even more so tonight, and maybe the RKO had something to do with this, nothing to do with his pending suspension from mixed martial arts. Brock Lesnar looked a little smaller.
He does.
I mean, maybe he's just cutting weight for his fight with Randy Orton. Maybe there's nothing to do with the fact that he was allegedly taking performance-enhancing drugs and, maybe got off him. I mean, listen, I'm sure Brock Lesnar is just cutting weight for his fight with Randy Orton. That's all.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He's got to chop a lot of wood, maybe, for the winter time up there in Canada.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
maybe he's been working out a little.
True, that's right. Maybe he's been spending time in the sauna.
Yeah,
yeah.
He does. He looks good though. It looks good on him.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah. So we had AJ Styles call out John Cena. AJ Styles had a subtle dig at TNA, saying, "Trust me, I know that Nashville sucks." And he said, "John, I beat you at Money in the Bank. Why are you still here?" And he proceeded to diss the little kids in the audience, diss the parents, call them stupid. And then John Cena lit up AJ Styles with this promo, talking about how he loves this business, how the reason why he's still here is because he loves to see the reaction of the kids, even though he doesn't want to have any of his own. How he loves the reaction of the parents that go up to him and say thank you, when he should be thanking them for sticking by him, for giving him the power to do what he does. He talked about how he loves going to the Teen Choice Awards and the Today Show and doing all his gigs representing SmackDown Live and WWE because he loves it. And he loves it when somebody asks him, well, when are you going to leave the WWE? And he says, I'm never leaving the WWE because I love it. And he, what else did he say? He said something along the lines of AJ, I know I love this. I'm here because I love this. You're here because you're a good wrestler. And you've proven that you'd go somewhere else. He kind of tore into him a little too much, I think. Just a little too much. It was kind of awkward. I thought, you know what, you give AJ Styles a little bit more shine, but AJ came back, said that he's gonna beat John Cena one more time. He was gonna do it at SummerSlam, and
Doubt it.
after SummerSlam, John Cena's gonna walk out and say that he's better, or that AJ Styles is better than him.
Hopefully that happens. It won't, but hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. Dolph Ziggler pinning AJ Styles. AJ Styles being pinned by Cena before that on the pay-per-view. AJ needs this win.
Keep in mind, Dolph Ziggler also has a TLC win over John Cena. So just want to clear that up.
Yeah, and look, John Cena's promo was damn good. It really was, but it was too much. It was almost like Finn Balor and Seth Rollins the night before. And granted, Seth is not seen on the promo, but Seth's gotten pretty good over the years. But it was like that. Like, Finn Balor tries to cut this promo, and Seth Rollins just kind of buries him. And, well, not buries him, but, just kind of overshadows him, overpowers him, power talks over him. And before you know it, it was like, Finn, he's a nice little Irish guy, but Seth Rollins is like the real star. And I kind of felt that way with this segment too. Like, I mean, more people know who AJ Styles is than Finn Balor right now, just because familiarity of being on the main roster and everything. But it was almost like, what the hell does AJ Styles say after that?
Well, yeah, we'll get to the Finn Balor promo in a minute, but yeah, that's pretty much all I can say.
And just to give a quick overview on the commentary, it was better this week. Morrow was better. He still made some awkward analogies, but he's Mauro Ranallo. He's really talented, and he's one of the better commentators in the company. JBL, for the most part, I thought he was harmless. David Otunga this week, and this is coming from somebody that likes David Otunga, he was completely useless. Morrow brought up DJ Khaled, talked about major key. What's the major key? And then David Otunga's like, I like that, major key, and then he proceeded to bring up the phrase major key the rest of the broadcast. Can I just make this guy the legal analyst?
They're clueless. They put together a show, with SmackDown going live, doing this and that, and they had no idea what to do with the show. That's the problem.
Pretty much. So, overall, I'd say, I don't want to say a thumbs. You know what? Screw it.
Pretty much the same.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. This show disappointed me. I had high hopes.
Well,
the triple threat was decent. Main event was decent, but if you missed this show, there's nothing that I would say, oh my God, you got to go out of your way to see. You could find a Vine of Brock Lesnar, F5ing Randy Orton, or an animated GIF from WWE's own Twitter feed. You
I
can
already
find
saw that.
you can find a quick YouTube clip of John Cena's promo. I mean, other than that, what do you need? What did you miss?
It's pretty much the same old SmackDown.
If
Just
you want
on
to
a
see
new
Ava
night.
Marie, there's Google for that. You can just Google images of Ava Marie,
Pretty much.
which might be better than watching her matches.
It is. It is.
Well, you would know, but
We can talk about that later too.
yeah, just don't let your wife hear that. So.
That's cool. I have headphones on.
All right, good.
Okay.
Guys, don't tell Scott's wife.
It's cool.
So, yes, but you compare that to Raw, which had a hot opening segment, had a really good main event, had a hot closing segment. It's night and day. So let's go through Raw real quick. And
so much for the SmackDown being the innovative show.
Yeah, so much for that, right? But let's go through Raw real quick. We'll give our thoughts, and then we'll take some questions on the air here. We opened the show with Charlotte and Chris Jericho beating Sasha Banks and Enzo Amore in a mixed tag match. Charlotte pinned Sasha Banks. I was not a fan of Charlotte pinning Sasha Banks because Sasha Banks just won the freaking women's title. Why do you have to beat her already? I know it sets up a SummerSlam match, but seriously? Charlotte's been champion for almost a year. By that alone, she should get a rematch.
Well, yeah. Well, they had announced a rematch already before that even happened.
Actually, yeah, you're right. That's true.
So, yeah. It was a 50-50 booking. It shows that, Sasha got lucky, and that's all it was about. But the whole issue I had is, why the hell did Enzo come out to defend Sasha? Because the beginning promo was when Sasha came out by herself, and then Charlotte came out, and then Jericho, and then Enzo, which was great. It was definitely a little
it was different.
A little something there between Enzo and Sasha.
Yeah, it was different. Sasha came out to celebrate. It was nice. Then Charlotte came out, and they were throwing shade at each other, and she called Sasha a one night stand. Sasha said that Charlotte wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a one night stand. That was a good line. But then it just kind of dragged on. Chris Jericho came out and called the fans stupid idiots and dissed Sasha Banks, and he said, "You're a boss. Are you going to tell me when to punch in? Are you going to fire me? Are you going to give me my shift?"
He's still great.
He is. For people that diss Jericho, he is still a great personality, especially as a heel. My God, think about how awful he was, well, the character was in January when he was a babyface, and to now. I love heel Jericho. Just keep him as a heel. Don't turn him every month like you do with the Big Show and Kane. Just keep him a heel. He's great. So Enzo came out, to talk about how he's a G and Sasha's a boss, and kissed her hand. And Mick Foley came out, set up this mixed tag, and it was all right. But man, same thing we've talked about before with Sasha Banks. Stop doing these dives.
Oh my God,
She's
so tiny.
She went for a dive through the ropes, and I guess she intentionally wanted to go for a cross body.
Yeah.
But nobody in WWE ever does this. When's the last time you saw somebody go for a suicide dive, a tope? Well, no, actually, it is a suicide dive through the ropes, and try to go for a cross body?
Well, if she doesn't, though, I think she's going to hurt herself even more.
She is trying to break her neck.
Yeah, well,
Do these people not learn from Daniel Bryan or Nigel McGuinness? Like, far be it from me to tell somebody how to wrestle, but, maybe the agents, the producers backstage should take a stand and just say, hey, you know what? Like, take it easy. Take it easy. Maybe it's an equality thing. Maybe they feel like if they tell Sasha to tone down the stuff with the dives, and they don't tell, say, Sami Zayn, who's had a history of injuries, maybe they feel like it's a double standard and everything. But
could be.
There's ways of saying it. There's ways of just saying, listen, I didn't want to do the dive. We don't need it tonight. Simple as that. Can somebody just tell her that? And seriously, we're talking about dangerous bumps and dives and sloppiness. Enzo Amore, too. They both dove at the same time.
Yes, they did.
Enzo Amore is a great talker, a great personality. He has gotten over incredibly with the WWE audience thus far since being on the main roster the night after WrestleMania. But the dude's never going to be mixed up with Cesaro. And the dude should play to his strengths and take it easy when it comes to going through the ropes. Hell, I don't know if you saw Tommy Dreamer's tweet. He said, Enzo, be careful with your dives. This is from an old G. So when Tommy Dreamer, who's taken some crazy bumps and some insane punishment throughout his career, is telling you to take it easy, you might want to listen to him. So, but it was a good segment outside of the fact that Sasha Banks got pinned. We had Braun Strowman beat some jobber. This was a little bit better than last week, but still, even in a squash match that's supposed to make him look good, Braun Strowman still looks like crap. As does his hairstyle.
Look at the guys he's going. I actually like the hairstyle. Look at the guys he's going against. They're like a third of Braun Strowman.
Yeah, but Ryback's squash matches were a lot more entertaining. But I guess Ryback was also a babyface, so he played to the crowd. So yeah, you might be right.
And I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit with Nia Jax having a squash match as well. And the chick she was going against was horrible, by the way. They do this every week with Nia and Braun. It's going to be a big time problem as well, because you can't have both of them squashing people every week. It's not going to work.
Why not?
It's the same people. If you're going to do squash matches, that's all well and fine, but mix it up. Don't just have the same two people squashing.
Oh, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Let Seth Rollins squash somebody or somebody like that. Mm-hmm. You do it with Nia and him. It's not going to work, especially if Braun comes out first, which he did last week. No, he didn't come out last week first, but it's not going to work. It's going to be an issue.
I think it's a huge issue either way, but I get what you're saying. It would change it up. It would mix it up a little bit.
All right.
We had Rusev beat Mark Henry to retain the U.S. title. Mark Henry told Stephanie that he didn't just want to be the ambassador for the Olympics and a mentor to kids in WWE. He wants to go for one last big run, and Stephanie doubted him. Mick Foley said, you know what? We'll give you a U.S. title shot, and he lost with the accolade.
You know what they're doing with Rusev now is doing the same thing they did with him 2 years ago. He's beating all the American heroes to play up to something.
Yes, and that something is Roman Reigns. He cut a promo on America, said he's beating all our heroes, and Roman Reigns comes out, still with the vest and with the beard.
But it's a new vest.
Yeah, it's a little red and everything, and he came out, and it was a cool confrontation. Rusev was trying to leave the ring. Roman Reigns wouldn't let him. And afterwards, I think Rusev slid out of the ring, right? And so he was sliding out of the ring, and Roman Reigns slides out of the other side, leaps off of the stairs, and hits a Superman punch on Rusev. That was pretty cool.
That's cool.
That was pretty cool. Hey, Roman's a great athlete, but
the issue that they did with with Rusev is this promo in Atlanta, talking about the Olympics, talking about gold medals, was perfect for a certain somebody to re-debut or come back.
Kurt Angle.
They had Roman Reigns walk down. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know about you, but I was watching it like it's got to happen tonight, because he did it last week in Pittsburgh and nothing happened. And then you're like, this got to happen.
Yeah, so our American hero is Roman Reigns, who we hate. Who, by the way, if you're just talking about in terms of being a contender for the U.S. title, Roman Reigns has lost every match except for that fatal 4-way since coming back. Yeah. But that warrants a U.S. title shot?
Well, it's like they're punishing him, but yet they're still, by demoting him from the main event spot, to still giving him big matches.
And they're still trying to make him a babyface.
Right.
It's like, hey, he's this American hero. I bet you that he is going to get booed like crazy, and Rusev is going to get cheered at SummerSlam.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Rusev already is a face. Oh, getting back real quick to the mixed tag match. I don't know if you noticed it with the referee botch at the end of the match, giving the title belt to Charlotte.
Oh, yeah, he did that. That was...
Oops.
That was awkward.
Yeah, a little bit awkward.
Yeah, we had Titus O'Neil beat Darren Young in a segment that was set, or in a match that was set up by a segment where Titus O'Neil said, Darren, when were you great?
I've been saying that ever since the start.
Me too. And so they had a match, the former tag team partners, and Titus beat him.
He cheated.
And that's about it. That's all I remember. Titus beat Darren Young.
He beat him. He rolled him up and grabbed the tights and pinned him. And it was kind of awkward because Darren Young was more the heel, but yet Titus did the heel moves. And then they did a backstage segment with Bob Backlund. Well, they went to commercial and came back, and Bob Backlund screaming at Titus. And Titus actually came back and said, if you don't shut up, old man, I will whip your ass, which was, to me, I thought that was great. I mean, I don't want to see Bob Backlund at 60-something years old get his butt whipped, but
Yeah.
it was a great line by Titus. And then what happens? Darren Young just kind of out of nowhere punches Titus in the face and drops him, and that was it.
Yeah.
Very odd.
It was awkward. And
So,
we had Heath Slater beg for a contract, and he was in the ring with Jinder Mahal, who is re-signed. Jinder Mahal, who has wrestled maybe, I don't know, I think a dozen matches.
I was going to say, it hasn't been that many,
the last 2 years. I don't know what the hell the guy's been doing. He looks exactly the same.
At least he doesn't have the gimmick.
Yeah, but looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Good looking, tall, good looking guy in street clothes. He had a good look his first run too. He just was not very good in the ring. And he said that the band's back, 2MB baby. And Mick Foley said, "You know what? We're gonna put you guys together in a match, and whoever wins gets a Raw contract." And he goes, "No, you're not breaking up the band." So Jinder Mahal goes behind poor Heath, boots him in the face, pins him, shakes Mick Foley's hand, and gets a contract.
This would be so much fun. He is still great on the mic. He's been really good the last couple shows. But this would be better if he had. I hate to discount Jinder Mahal and Rhino, but better talent with him when this happened. Like, nobody's popping for Jinder Mahal.
Well, Rhino's still, got something in the tank.
It's ECW thing, but nobody's popping for Rhino,
Yeah. Jinder Mahal,
yeah.
And out of all the people you sign, like,
and why are you putting him on Raw? SmackDown needs people.
No, put him on Superstars, please.
Well, But
my point is, Jinder Mahal. I know there's a lot of people locked up with ROH and with TNA and with New Japan. But you're telling me you can't find anybody else that could contribute to your roster other than Jinder Mahal?
I mean, I'm okay with it.
I'm not.
Well, you need bodies. So, you
get bodies that can work at least.
Oh, excuse me. But you never know.
Get bodies that can work at least.
I guess, what about all these guys in, the Jeff Jarrett promotion? They can't have an exclusive contract.
Global Force. That's not even a real Global Force Wrestling.
But there's some talent there at least. Some. I mean,
there's nobody. There's Jeff Jarrett and a bunch of ghosts. That's all it is.
Well, Magnus is talent, but nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
I mean,
actually, yeah. Why don't they? If you're gonna spend the money to sign Jinder Mahal, why don't you sign Magnus, who's not the best in the ring, but is a really good talker. I mean, a really good talker, and has a great look, and has some familiarity with, maybe some of your audience.
And you could bring Mickie James in as well, just to get the crowd going at least. It could.
I mean, I don't think they'd put them together, but you could have Mickie James maybe be in NXT and kind of be like that, in that Bobby Roode role a little bit, and
exactly,
and give him some star power. I don't see why not. Well, also too, I mean, I don't know what their schedule's like, but they do have a young baby as well, so that might be a little complicated. But at the very least, like. Kind of surprised that Magnus never kind of got a tryout or anything. Maybe he did. I just don't know about it. But yeah, I mean, that's a guy out there that I would sign over Jinder Mahal. I mean, whatever. And let's see, we had the Shining Stars beat the Golden Truth because R-Truth was distracted playing Pokemon.
Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah,
just gotta clarify.
Yeah, we had the New Day beat Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson in like some fluke pinfall. Karl Anderson got rolled up because he was doing the too sweet thing with Luke Gallows, and they proceeded to beat the New Day up forever, and then pull Big E crotch first into the steel pole.
He's finally lost his Langston, as I tweeted you last night.
Yes, and they teased this backstage being a serious injury. They had the somber voice. All for Big E's balls. It was just ridiculous. And then the doctor's asking him, where does it hurt? And he's like, it hurts.
It's my Langston.
Yeah.
Before the match, though, when they came out and, they said that the club had filed a petition stating that 3 members of the New Day against 2 of the club wasn't fair. So 1 member of New Day had to go to the back. Was barred from ringside, even though the club whipped their ass last week on Raw. So that was kind of interesting.
It was dumb. And Xavier Woods got beat in his hometown of Atlanta.
In his hometown, yeah. In front of his parents.
Yep. That'd be tradition.
It is. Yeah.
We had Cesaro beat Sheamus.
Hmm.
Fun while it lasted, and then those two brawled with each other.
Yeah, the uppercuts were nice. And
Yeah.
it was a hard hitting match. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was a match. That's the
But
problem.
it better not end up with Sheamus pinning Cesaro at SummerSlam. And here's another thing. Another match that's set up with the heel losing for SummerSlam. Same thing with the club. The club gets a title shot after losing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I don't get. Yeah, you beat the champs to get a title shot at the champs.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not how it works.
We had Seth Rollins beat Sami Zayn in a really good match. And earlier in the night, Finn Bálor was to sit down with Michael Cole, talk about his future, talk about his past and everything else. We were going to learn about Finn Bálor. But Seth Rollins came out, put over Finn, saying, hey, you're the longest reigning NXT champion. You were a first-round pick, but I was the first NXT champion, and I was a top pick. And Seth had his obnoxious laugh, and just kind of kept going and berating Finn. And said, and I think he said something along the lines of, they're going to hand me that WWE Universal Championship. And then Finn's
that's the problem with you, Seth.
Yeah, what's the
I can't do it, but yeah.
I don't know what he said. He said something along the lines of,
you've been handed everything, and I work my
you've
butt
been
off.
handed like so many different things, and I just unplugged my headphones so I can't actually hear Scott. But
not a bad thing.
Let's see here. Okay, there we go.
Not a bad thing that you can't hear me.
I unplugged. I got a little overzealous. So what did he say? He had some lines.
No, it was you. I'm sorry, since you didn't hear it, it was Seth. You've been handed everything, where I've worked every day for what I get. Something to that effect.
Yeah, my entire life.
The problem with Finn's promo, as good as he is if you close your eyes, it's kind of like listening to Sheamus. Because they're both Irish,
I don't.
And that's
honestly,
fine,
I didn't see that at all. I just saw them give him kind of like wooden dialogue. I saw him not having the best delivery, despite being in NXT for a couple years to do promo classes and stuff. And then he had his main line where he was like, "The only thing that's gonna be handed to you at SummerSlam is your ass."
To me, I don't know. But
that was a nice little line.
But he needs somebody to talk for him. I think would be better.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't know. He felt shaky. It might have just been the dialogue. You know what I mean? I think it would have just been better if Michael Cole just interviewed him.
Yep.
And then you had maybe pictures in the background on the Titantron of different topics that they're talking about, the Bullet Club and NXT and blah, blah, blah. Like, I think that would have been fine. And then you could
the Bullet Club. You couldn't do that.
Yeah, you could say the club. And then you could have had Seth Rollins come out and verbally berate him only for him to do what he did, which was kick Seth and run him out of the ring.
Yeah.
But we got a couple weeks, and the Brooklyn crowd's going to react to Finn like a star because they attract a lot of smart fans and NXT fans, so he'll be fine.
React to Seth like a star, so it'll be good.
It will be, but I'll say this, and I agree with Lance Storm, who tweeted this. Finn Bálor should not lose in his first match as the Demon.
Well, there's no guarantee he does that.
I think he will. SummerSlam, he has to.
Dude,
he will.
The question is, what does Vince McMahon think about it? Because that's what it boils down to.
Well, I'm sure Vince McMahon thinks it's cool, so
I'm not too sure.
No, he'll do it. Come on.
He should.
He'll do it.
Listen. If Seth, and you tweeted this out, I think it was you, or somebody tweeted it out last week after Finn won that it's the nail in the coffin for him. Maybe it wasn't you. It was, I look at so many tweets, I apologize. But if he beats Seth, I think it could be the nail in the coffin for him. I do.
Not at all.
Too much too quick, I think.
I don't think so.
I think it could.
I don't think so.
We'll see.
Well, listen, they're not going to gain anything by having Seth Rollins beat him. They listen, you talk about like missed opportunities. They burned through money having Seth Rollins come back as a heel.
Well, you're getting to what I was going to get to.
So, they can't.
You could do a double turn here and have the club reform with Finn as a heel. It would make no sense for
I would wait.
But why not do it at SummerSlam?
I would wait. And honestly, I would, and this is something they already should have done, but I would wait, and I would actually align the club with Roman Reigns.
Oh, God.
I think it would be perfect. But, Gallows and him have similar gear, and they're both they're both kind of big guys, and I feel like it would fit. I feel like it would fit. It would make sense, and you could do kind of like the same tease he did with AJ Styles, where is he with the club, is he not with the club, and then eventually when Finn wrestles Roman, the club turns on him. Roman Reigns is the heel champion, and there you go. That's your build to a big babyface versus heel matchup.
God, if that's not like NWO, nothing is. My goodness.
Well, listen, the club's really good, but they're getting beaten like drums, and I really feel like that they should be aligned with the top act.
No, I agree.
And I don't think Seth Rollins and the club fits. I think Roman and the club fits. I do. But
I'm not even a fan of them losing in house shows that they do all the time.
Yeah, they lost the freaking
They lost to the Usos all the time.
Yeah.
And they're great too, live. They really were.
Yeah,
but
Carl Anderson's the man, but
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Did you catch Seth Rollins' movie debut in Sharknado 4?
I did not. Believe it or not, I avoided watching the Sharknadoes.
Oh. Sharknado 4 was disappointing. Seth doesn't get killed unless I blinked, but he does save the Grand Canyon, the Hoover Dam. So
you know what? I'll have to look.
And they use his real name in it. He's called Lopez in it. So
really?
Yes.
Okay.
But it was okay.
Maybe I'll check it out. I've seen like the clips and stuff, like the appearances, and usually when like Chris Jericho appeared and some other people, it's cool. But I just don't know.
Maurice was in it. The third one or second one. They're good cheesy movies. They're so bad that they're good.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a thing, but whatever.
True.
Were you okay with Seth pinning Sami Zayn?
Yeah, I was fine with it, but I think, yes
I'm
and no.
disappointed with it.
Yes and no. I mean, I'm indifferent. I mean, it's just he just got a big win over Kevin Owens.
Exactly.
You know what? I do have a problem with it because I would like to have seen him go for the U.S. title, and the fact that Roman Reigns coming off of multiple losses is. Where Sami Zayn just beat Kevin Owens.
Well, that's it. Zayn hasn't won now since the brand split because he lost the 4-way last week, lost this week.
Yeah.
What are you going to – I mean, look, I get it. What do you do with Roman at SummerSlam? I understand that.
But still,
maybe that would have been a good opportunity to use him as that special guest referee type role. And what's he going to do?
Or just give him like a filler match, a quick match with Chris Jericho. It's nothing spectacular, but at least it's something that keeps him on the radar, gives him a win. I mean, instead it looks like they're going to do Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, Kevin Owens said that he has Chris Jericho's back because Big Cass wasn't happy with Chris Jericho attacking Enzo. So it looks like it's Kevin Owens and Jericho, who will be an awesome tag team,
but as
they have been
versus Enzo and Cass, that's just odd.
It is odd, but Jericho and Owens better win that. As much as I like Enzo and Cass.
No way in Brooklyn. Enzo
actually, yeah,
Cass
you're right. Yeah, never mind. If it's in Brooklyn, I just don't want to see Kevin Owens lose again.
That's why you have Jericho take the pin.
True. That is true. So yeah, overall Raw was pretty good. Especially with the Randy Orton RKO out of nowhere. I want to say it was great, but it was all right. It was all right. It had its flaws, but
I think my critique of Raw would be that you did not do anything to build anyone new.
Yeah.
And you can watch this over and over again, and there wasn't. Who can you name anybody they tried to build up? Anyone? I mean, Braun Strowman, really?
Yeah. Nia Jax.
Yeah, I mean that's it, and. The cruiserweights are coming in, which is cool. Cool because it's something different, which should still be on SmackDown, but whatever.
Yeah.
And yet you're going to take away more time. So now I don't get it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, before we go, let's take a few comments and questions here. Let's see. Dan Foster says they do not want to see Bray Wyatt in the match because he won't win. Well, he didn't win tonight against Dolph Ziggler.
Now, Ziggler-Ambrose is going to be a great match. It'd be better than Wyatt and Ambrose for sure, but... Yeah. Come on, yes. Yeah. Ziggler-Ambrose does have the show-stealing potential. It really does.
In Brooklyn, I don't know.
No, it absolutely could. Come on.
I think it'll be an awesome match, but I don't think it's compared to... But you still got Brock and Orton. You got Cena and AJ. You got Finn and Rollins. I think it's going to be really good. And I think maybe on like a house show or on like a single brand pay-per-view, it might steal the show, quote unquote, steal the show. But on a pay-per-view with those other three matches, I don't see that happening.
But those are great matches. But these two guys have no pressure. They can just go all out.
True,
And I
if they're
think they will.
but also if they're given the time.
It's a forgetful match. I'm not going to say that. People are going to look back on it and say, "Oh yeah, okay," but it could be a hell of a match. So we'll see.
It could. Okay, Fred, do you see Ronda Rousey making an appearance? No, but I would imagine they'll try to talk to her closer to WrestleMania time.
Yes.
Do you see Bray Wyatt reforming the Wyatt family? Well, we kind of already had that tonight. Although Eric Rowan single-handedly took out the WWE champion and his challenger. Think about that. Yeah. Ugh. Ryback squash matches against actual competition. Steven Shaw, Ryback beat a lot of local talent, but he did beat some guys on the main roster as well. But he did beat a lot of local talent, including the infamous Stan Stansky, who's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
What do you think about the women's title? A new women's title coming to SmackDown.
We did not mention that.
Yeah, on the Bear Hug It Out podcast, Daniel Bryan did an interview, and he confirmed, quote, "We are going to have a women's championship on SmackDown."
Because with 6 women, we can do a lot with that.
Absolutely.
Well, let me rephrase it. 6 women who only 3 of them can work. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, well, listen, if they get Bayley, they'll be all right.
Well, I guess we'll get a lot of Natalya versus Becky matches coming up, huh?
Pretty much.
I mean, you would assume, anyway.
Yeah, let's see here. Did you know that Heath Slater beat Dolph Ziggler? Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Well, yeah, Heath Slater has a win over Dolph Ziggler as well.
Social outcast Heath Slater at that.
Yeah, the #1 contender.
Yeah, but we can go back and, I'm sure Dean Ambrose doesn't have the best, some of his losses
to Heath Slater. Zip Away asks us, Fred and Scott, any thoughts on how WWE 2K17 is being promoted? I think the Suplex City thing is really cool, although obviously it's marred by Brock Lesnar's drug test failures in MMA.
My question is, why does Paul Heyman always say that Goldberg went to Suplex City?
I don't know.
And somebody pointed this out to me. If you go back and watch the Goldberg commercial for 2K, when he's in the cop car, if you look in the window,
Suplex City.
Yep.
Well, I think it's more of just I don't think. Listen, they're never gonna do that match, but it's just something fun for the fans. And plus, since Brock Lesnar's on the cover and Goldberg's also the featured legend, it makes sense.
Okay.
It makes sense. I don't mind with the way they're promoting it. They did the little roster reveal and everything on IGN. Nothing blew me away. The graphics look good, but keep in mind it's only a trailer. You know what I mean? And it's still like early footage. The only thing that mind-boggled me was that in WWE 2K17, Scott, guess who appears? Somebody obscure.
Los Matadores.
Well, you read my Twitter feed, yeah. Yes. The Matadors, not the Shining Stars. The Matadors.
The McMahons as well, which is kind of odd.
Well, they were on like the last few years, so that's not really odd. It's just it's funny. They'll do the roster reveal. They'll announce the same people. They'll just have different promo shots. It's like John Cena's in the game. Wow. What? John Cena's in the game. Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, Terrell Scott asks, is Victoria joining? Because there were some tweets earlier from her as well, kind of teasing it. But that did not happen.
If they wanted to sign her, honestly, I think they would have signed her a long time ago.
Well, they need bodies there, man.
They do, but she's older.
They need some women's bodies.
But she's older, and I don't know if they they want somebody. I mean, she still looks great, and I'm sure she could still go in the ring. But you know how Vince McMahon is with age and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But it looks like she was teasing it a little bit. It would be cool. I'd like to see her in, but I don't think it would happen. You know what? I think she'd be more likely to do kind of like a player coach type of role in NXT.
Yeah, well, her versus Becky could have some potential, I suppose.
Yeah, but you know what though? They got some.
You know what? You could bring her in as like a one-off even. You could just. I wonder if they'll do that. Maybe bring some of these people in for the SmackDown only pay-per-views, and have like a Victoria versus Becky Lynch match, and then Becky wins and Victoria just does her thing.
Yeah.
Is it possible we see that?
We could. We could, but I don't. I could see that more maybe with Nia Jax, where Nia Jax maybe destroys some legends and reach to the title.
No. Like
Hey,
who?
well,
She's not going to take Lita. Oh, I guess maybe Lita.
she could beat Lita. She could beat
But she's not Trish. She's
she could beat Victoria. You know,
Uh,
you could dig up Molly Holly from obscurity. You know.
You think? I mean, this generation probably doesn't know who Molly Holly is.
True, but she could destroy her anyway.
Oh, and that's the other thing. You were talking about why not show videos and promo clips of these people like Finn Balor's and stuff like that.
Yeah. Instead of assuming that everybody knows this stuff.
They want people. You know what? They want you to just go right to the network and look it up. That's why.
Yeah, but people aren't going to do that.
But that's what they think. That's what their thought is. Hey, they'll go on the network and look.
I remember when they brought back Kevin Nash 5 years ago, and he got like no reaction, and people were wondering why is Kevin Nash getting no reaction? Because you got a generation of people who did not grow up on Kevin Nash, who did not watch WWF in the mid-'90s, who did not watch WCW, who never watched his TNA run, and there was nothing in his TNA run.
It is really hard to believe it was that long ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's, they could have showed a video or something. And I remember one time he had a promo where he was cutting it with CM Punk, and CM Punk was talking about something that happened in 1994, and then Kevin Nash mentioned 1996. And I was like, this is 2011. What the hell is going on here? And they just have a tendency to do this. Just they tell, not show. You got to show, not tell.
Yeah.
Okay? When you're watching Breaking Bad, they didn't tell you. There's a big sign that flashed that says Walter White's turning into a bad mofo. No, they showed you. They showed you. Or whatever. Let's use a simpler example. In The Walking Dead, they don't say, "Hey, you're gonna get eaten by a zombie." It's just, oh.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with Brock Lesnar tonight that you were talking about. They knew people were going to tune in because people assumed Lesnar was going to show up tonight.
Actually, I didn't think he was going to show up.
If you promote it, though, it ruins the whole he's on Raw, he's on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know. So, but I'm just saying from a financial standpoint, since they're spending so much money on him and he has limited dates,
Well, it makes sense to do it just to get people to watch SmackDown.
Right.
More than anything. You could have Shane do something and say, be on the phone. Like, I just got off with got off the phone with my sister, and, Brock's going to be coming to SmackDown to confront you, Randy, or something stupid, at least promote it that way.
Yeah.
So, you could have done that.
But. Fred, what did you think about Draymond Green's latest snafu that was similar to Seth Rollins's? All I got to say is that I regret clicking on the name Draymond Green in Twitter trends because I found out very quickly why he was trending. And it was not for the right reasons. I
didn't watch it, but never mind. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I was gonna say was
Draymond Green is a clown,
but I meant story wise.
Draymond Green is a clown. That's all I gotta say. He's a great player, but he is a complete clown off the court. Just a complete clown off the court, and I hope Steven Adams dunks on him and punches him in the face next season. So. There's that. What karma, by the way. All right, this dude kicks people in the junk, punches people in the junk, then gets unfair advantage. Then he ends up getting suspended because he punched people in the junk way too much. Warriors lose the series, and then he freaking accidentally tweets out a picture of his junk.
Accident. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. Well, I think it was Snapchat, and then it was screenshot. Whatever. It was still That was more of Draymond than I ever need to see. All right, we'll end this on.
Real quick. Yeah. Dan Foster says that Molly Holly was a badass in the 2000s. And you got to go on the network to watch it. WrestleMania 17 in Toronto, when
18.
Molly Holly 18. I'm sorry, when she won the hardcore title, and then when Christian beat her for it. I know it is what it is, but that was one of the greatest bumps I've ever seen taken. Period. And by Molly Holly at that, because it looks so good.
I don't remember that part.
She's running down the hallway, and all of a sudden the top half of the door slams right into her face, and she just drops. And it's Christian, and he pins her. Because it's one of them doors, it has the top. Yeah. Oh, it was great. I mean, it looked like she took it like a champ. Yeah. I don't know how they pulled that off.
That's hilarious.
And then, when she pinned him.
All right, well, we're going to end it with this comment right here from Jeremy Bálor at Jeremy8911 if you want to follow him on Twitter. He's got some pretty good takes on wrestling. SmackDown needs to get Samoa Joe and the Revival on there after SummerSlam.
Yep.
Dude, they definitely need Samoa Joe. I would definitely love to see the Revival. I was going to also say Nakamura, but then I remember he's going to probably win the NXT title. But he should get on there too. Nakamura has no business. I mean, he has business being on Raw because he's a huge star and they want to stack up Raw. But he said on Jericho's podcast he wants to work with John Cena. John Cena's on SmackDown. Put Nakamura on SmackDown, please.
Oh, God. Him and Cena.
That would be a great match. What are you talking about?
Nakamura, Bobby Roode at the next takeover, probably, huh? Probably leaning towards that, you would assume, at this point.
Why are you saying that?
Well, if Nakamura wins the NXT title. And
yeah, but he could always debut shortly after anyway. I mean, they've already posted.
No, but I'm saying, you would assume Bobby Roode and Nakamura would be the next.
True,
next
but I'm
step.
saying, but why are you groaning about John Cena and Nakamura? You don't think that'd be a great match?
No, because you know what happens to guys who wrestle John Cena.
Okay, take the result out of the equation. Do you not think it would be a great match?
You know what happens to guys who wrestle John Cena.
All right. Oh.
It's only worked one time, and that was because CM Punk quit. And that would be Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan didn't beat John Cena after CM Punk quit.
No, he didn't. But he kept his push. He got the push, kept the push at least because of that. Otherwise, who knows where Daniel Bryan would have ended up?
I know, but we're talking about Cena versus Nakamura. What does that have to do with anything? We're talking about.
It's like to talk about the past.
Yeah, listen, man.
It has potential, but
listen, no. I'm telling you how it would go down.
John
It'd be amazing. The crowd would mark out. And it would be great. But yeah, if John Cena won, that would piss me off. So.
Well, he would win. It would be at WrestleMania, and he would win. Well,
he would know. You don't.
You know what? Actually, for Cena's quote unquote farewell, as he starts to obviously go out and do other things like we've talked about, for him to put over Nakamura at WrestleMania would be pretty damn cool.
Exactly. Okay.
In Orlando. Where Nakamura's made his name in NXT for the last 6 months.
True.
I'm not going to mention Japan.
True. Also, I thought you brought up Daniel Bryan. I think you brought up the wrong example. You want to bring up is like Kevin Owens or Bray Wyatt, guys that feuded with Cena where they don't really get a win over him, and then yeah.
Well, no, I meant Daniel Bryan's like the only guy to get a win over him and actually do something with it.
Well, no, they try to bury Daniel Bryan afterwards, and
wait, that's what I'm saying. Except for the fact CM Punk.
Quit and then
where he was, right? Other than that, Daniel Bryan might have still been buried. That's what I was getting at. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Anyway, I guess CM Punk got it. Or whatever.
Well, CM Punk. Well, bottom line is very few people that have actually beat Cena over the years that have been able to sustain a push. I think is what you're trying to.
Well, even lost to Cena. Yeah.
Yeah. True that. True. All right. Anyway, folks, we're gonna get on out of here. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please click the like button. Please share this with all your friends. Please don't forget to subscribe for more wrestling updates. And before we go, I'm going to leave you guys with a special clip. You see, we've interviewed a number of wrestlers over the years. I'm going to be uploading some new interview content later this week. Just been a little bit busy. My apologies for the delay, but it'll be up later this week. And we've interviewed some of the biggest names in pro wrestling, from Booker T to Edge to Mick Foley to the phenomenal AJ Styles. I actually had the pleasure of interviewing AJ Styles back in October 2013, months before he left TNA for New Japan, back when he thought he was still going to stick with TNA. He was the current TNA World Champion at the time. So I'm going to close out the show by playing you guys a very special interview clip from my talk with AJ Styles in October 2013. Until next time, everybody, woo! As always, enjoy the matches. A lot of people don't realize that you were actually there in WCW in the dying days. A little-known tag team called Air Raid with Air Paris made a few WCW appearances. Were you there at the end?
I was. I wasn't there at the end show. I wasn't there for that, but I did wrestle at the end. I have a grand total of probably about 5 matches under contract with WCW. And, I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was that I was wrestling for WCW, and I was happy. But I did see a lot of guys taking pictures with the crew and stuff like that. And so I kind of knew something was up. Like, this may be the last WCW that I'll be on, and it was.
Yeah, it was about a year and a half before TNA started, and of course you became the face of TNA for years to come. When WCW died, and you couldn't come to terms with WWE, and then you saw what they did with WCW, which was really not much. Was a young guy like you deflated at all because of the fact that all of a sudden ECW's gone? WCW, where you think you're finally going to get your big break after all your hard work, is gone. You know, Japan wasn't the same. What was your mindset at the time prior to TNA forming?
Well, I was gonna make a life out of wrestling for me. I was gonna find a way to make this my job, and if it was going to Japan for a couple of years and perfecting my craft, and that's what I was gonna do. Nobody could tell me any different that I was gonna, make it in professional wrestling. So I was gonna find a way to make it. And it sucks that ECW and WCW were gone, but if you want to wrestle, you got to get out there and bust your butt and make a living, and sacrifice a lot. And I was willing to do that, but luckily, TNA started up.